We're back here at Full Mile Brewing in Sun Prairie. We've got a fantastic spread of some really good food that they've got out here. If you haven't been out here, you need to get here. And this is really good stuff, and it's a lot of fun, but sometimes the compliance issues that benefits programs present really aren't as much fun. That was a great segue. Anywho, that's going to be the focus of this episode of Knowledge on the Rocks. So Alyssa and Mike, when we were talking about the top 3 compliance issues that a business is going to face, one that came right up to the top was the lack of an official plan document. Alyssa, tell me more about that. What does that mean?
So a plan document is what your employer is required to give you by law, usually at the beginning of your plan. It says your coverage, how you use your plan, different parameters that you're allowed to use your plan, and basic information that you as an employee need to have.
Okay, sounds good. And Mike, why is that a necessity? Why do you need this plan document?
I mean, the plan document is a governing document to your plan. Things like eligibility, if you have a claims dispute, it spells out everything that you need with very specific ERISA language. So without that, you're leaving yourself liable for a number of different compliance issues with that.
Okay, so there's actually legal implications to not having something like this. Okay, so this plan document is a notice and probably carries some other notices with it. And one of the other things we talked about was a lack of required notices. Mike, tell me about the notices that an employer needs to deliver to their employees.
So there's a bevy of them, between 12 and 16, depending on the size and the location of the organization. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have an official plan document, which honestly most fully insured companies don't have a plan document. They're relying on the certificates to suffice as a plan document, and that's not the case at all. So if you don't have a plan document to begin with, you're probably missing out on all the required notices that are needed. So you can go online. If you have a question about it, I can send you the list of all the required notices and actually how you're supposed to distribute those. Let me know.
Sure. Alyssa, I'm guessing most employees probably don't read these notices.
Right,
why should an employer bother with these?
Besides the fact that it's the law, I
think
it's important that employers go beyond the minimum requirement of just having these available, but making sure your employees understand what they mean and how to utilize them too. You know, there's information in there that can help employees through different situations throughout the year that they might not know they have access to.
Sure.
And if you ever get audited by the DOL, the first 2 things that they ask for, plan document and notices. Sure. So if you already are screwing up on the first 2 line items that they're asking for, you're in for a long day. They're going to be there for a while.
I would imagine so.
Lawyer up.
We'll tackle this last one rapid fire here. So the lack of HIPAA documentation is another thing that we talked about here. Mike, most businesses aren't healthcare businesses, though. And when people think HIPAA, they think a law governing a healthcare business. Why would a non-healthcare business need to be concerned about this?
Good question. Key term here, covered entity. So if you are a self-funded health plan, you offer a flexible flex spending account, an HRA, self-funded dental, you are now considered a covered entity, which makes you subject to certain parameters around HIPAA. You got to be really, really careful with that. A lot of people completely overlook that. So if it's FSA, HRA, flex, you have to have HIPAA policies and procedures in place.
Alyssa, if you're not compliant, you don't have those policies and procedures in place, I imagine some rough things might happen to you. What are those consequences?
So there's consequences anywhere from a $100 fine to a $50,000 fine, depending on the severity of it. And also you can be charged criminally and put in jail if you don't have the right HIPAA documents. So it's really important to make sure that you're covered because I don't think you want to go to jail.
No, I certainly don't. I certainly don't. And it really, for businesses, you don't know what you don't know, and you know that's unfortunately that's not an excuse in a court of law here. One of the things that Houseman can help you with is to perform a mock Department of Labor audit to assess where you stand related to your compliance obligations and what you need to do to improve that legal standing here. If that's something that you're interested in, by all means, reach out to Alyssa, reach out to Mike. They'd be more than happy to help you, or whoever you work with on your benefits here at Houseman. Really, because healthcare is so complex, and it is a complex thing, especially when you get into the compliance pieces, some of the biggest names in the tech industry are looking to get involved here, like Amazon and IBM and Microsoft and Google. They all kind of want a piece of this action because they think they can help fix the system here, and that's going to be the focus of our next episode here. So, Mike, Alyssa, thank you both for coming in.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.